The Kitmen! What's the crack, lads? This is also Kevin, without a beard. And
this is Kevin also with a beard.
my face is very naked.
Look about 12.
Yeah, I know. I
About
feel about 12. I did the opposite of November. I shaved it all off for some reason. I may keep it off in November and then grow it back. Now we'll see. I'm growing it back anyway again because I wanted to do it that way. So I'm growing it back for the whole month now again, just to kind of join everybody. Right.
Didn't recognize you
So
first, to be honest with
EPL Roundup. Let's just get Liverpool out of the way at the start anyway. Just
you. Okay. Well, no, we can do that. We can do that. What I was going to do, because I was just looking, Conte was announced as manager
all right.
of Spurs.
Oh yeah. I seen that one ago.
Mostly Nuno was sacked
Yeah.
after losing 3-0 to United over the weekend.
Wasn't he on his way to United though? According to him.
Yeah, that was the talk, wasn't it? If Ole got the sack after Liverpool beat them, Conte was the main man for the job, apparently. Obviously, for one reason or another, that didn't happen, and Ole is still there. And now Nuno has been sacked, and Conte is on his way to Tottenham Hotspur on an 18-month contract. First of all, Kev, what do you think of Nuno getting the sack?
I think it's unfair. I think Spurs just don't know whether they're coming or going, to be honest with you. You know, managers need to be given 2 to 3 years on a rebuild if they're doing it, if they're going to be doing anything, if they're viable of doing anything. I get it that they've Harry Kane in the team. I get it that they have Son in the team, but they've never really fixed the defense. They've never really built up the midfield, and they've just kind of recycled the same type of player over and over again. Whether they just can't get the players or not, I don't know. But because I you know, my uncle supports Spurs. I have friends that support Spurs, and I kind of have a softish spot in a way for Spurs as well. You know, they're very Irish supported side as well as Liverpool and United. You know, and Arsenal. But um, I can't see, without giving a manager time inside, or what the hell anybody's going to be able to do. What's Conte going to do in a year and a half? He's probably going to get him defending a lot better and counter attacking a lot better, but like they'd have to be completely on fire. But they've never ever had. When was the last time you remember Spurs having since Sol Campbell having a top class centre back?
They did all right. Well, yeah, well, maybe that level, but I think they did okay under Poch, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but
They had like as far as I'm concerned, their biggest mistake was getting rid of him.
yeah,
He was perfect for Daniel Levy as well in terms of he made a good team on very little money,
yeah,
similar to Jurgen Klopp as well. That
it's
way,
a
you
sign
know,
of a good coach.
sign of a great coach.
Yeah,
God only knows why he ever went. Do you actually something interesting when I was watching Monday Night Football last night? I know he was only there for 10 games in the league and whatnot, but he had a better record than Pochettino within the time that he was with Tottenham. Nuno.
wow,
Not much of a better record, but still all the same a better record.
in the same
And
period.
in the same period, and he got the sack. Pochettino was also close to getting the sack when he was there at the start, but they were saying like the main difference between Nuno getting the sack and Poch not getting the sack was the style of football.
Yeah,
In that people could see what Poch was trying to achieve and
yeah,
what he was trying to do, and he was exciting and he
yeah.
was trying to get the team to play the right way. He has a bit of a personality as well himself, whereas Nuno probably wouldn't be as much of a personality, and the football was definitely, it was awful. Let's be honest about you, or be honest about
I
it.
mean, Poch got him to the Champions League final. Spurs
Yeah,
to a Champions
I
League
know.
final.
I know.
You know, so yeah, I just madness. He was only fired shortly after that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
that's ridiculous.
I
Yeah,
think like if you have a manager like Pochettino, and I understand that Spurs are working on a budget and all the rest of the budget,
yeah,
if somebody is doing that well, getting the Champions League finals, etc., you
mm,
have to build on that. You can't just let him rot.
yeah.
Obviously, there's only so much that a great manager like him can do. You could put Klopp in the same boat as well. There's only so far someone can bring you without the extra bit of help or the extra bit of support. You're just going to stay there or you're going to go backwards. And I think that's eventually what did happen to Tottenham. Unfortunately, they did get rid of Pochettino. And look, I don't know. I don't know where this one leaves Daniel Levy, you know?
Yeah,
Got rid of Mourinho a couple of days before he was in the cup final.
yeah.
They've only won the one cup in 20 years.
It's just
And
bad decisions, isn't it?
it's terrible.
It's
Absolutely
panic.
terrible.
It's panicking decisions, is what it is.
Mm.
So, for a fella that they, like, it's granted they've built the stadium and it's a fantastic stadium, but like they haven't got the team to back it up. some of the individual talent is there, similar to United in the way they're going, but some of the individual talent is there, but it's down to just bad management, really. When they can build stuff and they can make stuff look pretty and all of that, and they can, but they just can't do it on the pitch, and they haven't, uh, it should be concentrated like they've done that now in the stadium, and I can see them getting a bit better over the next few years. But they really need to focus on the football side of things, and the loyalty, and trying to create a cohesive team there, rather than just having manager roundabout, because it literally has been a manager roundabout for the last 8 years. I can't, just round
So
and round.
are we kind of saying Daniel Levy, good businessman, bad football man?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think he works well with boardroom members,
Mm.
and doesn't work well with anybody in management, coaching
Yeah,
staff.
yeah, yeah.
I think he has this issue where he's the number one, and the whole. I think he plays manager, and just appoints somebody that he just pays somebody to just step in there, and that's what it feels like to me. It feels like he needs it's grand. He needs to see people winning, or he needs to see his team winning, and that. But he's doing it at the point where he'll invest in the physical and not in the mindset, if you get me. So he's investing in buildings and making everything look nice and pretty, and that'll that's for the bank balance going forward. I get that. That's for revenue to bring in and all that. But he's not doing it on the pitch. He's not creating anything cohesive or solid, or he's not allowing the management teams to do it. I mean, Nuno's got is a manager supposed to walk straight in and have a team playing like fantastic football instantly, when he's a totally different style to Pochettino? Mourinho's a totally different style again. Mourinho was always kind of defensive counter attacking. Mourinho, I think, played a lot of attacking football when he had world class players under him at Chelsea.
So yeah.
So that's when they only allowed themselves, and it kind of shows their forte as managers and owners and stuff like that. Well, especially as managers, when if you don't have the quality of players, like Mourinho is the opposite to Klopp. Klopp can take somebody who's you would say is average at another club and just turn them into a worldie, whereas
Yeah.
Mourinho would need a good balance of 8 world class players and a couple of OKs in between to make a good
Mm.
team. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of the difference in management styles. But given that if he was given more time, then Mourinho could have done well. But it's like I don't know where the pressure from Levy comes from to get rid of these managers, because Spurs type fans are the type to sit there and go, okay, so we lost again, we're all right. That's the way they've always been. They've just taken it on the chin and kind of gone on with it. But I've never seen an owner, besides, well, Mike Ashley didn't give a shit about Newcastle, but like I never seen an owner of a club who loves the club so much, but just doesn't allow himself to step out of the way for a while, and just
Mm.
stay away from anything to do with the club, and just let the management team create a football team. Uh,
He's
you know,
there now 21 years, and I believe he's had 15 different
ah,
managers within the 21 years. So he's the chairman, obviously, and I believe Joe Lewis is the owner, but he's the head man at White Hart Lane or
yeah,
Tottenham
but he's the guy
Hotspur.
to go to. Like he's got shares in
Yeah,
that. He's part owner in that bloody thing now
and
as a
it's
chairman.
like
So yeah,
15 managers in 21 years. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. Like, I agree. Like, okay, I agree that Nuno shouldn't have been sacked after such a short amount of
it's
time. But
disgraceful and it's
it,
disrespectful to a manager
it's
like that.
terrible.
Yeah,
But there's a big part of me thinking that they never wanted him in the first place.
yeah,
I think the fact they got rid of him as soon as maybe they gave him a bit of a chance to see how
yeah,
things work
yeah,
out, but they're pulling the trigger very quickly.
yeah.
Um, the worry I would have now for Tottenham is the same worry I had when Mourinho was coming in there. That like Mourinho is a big time Charlie manager. He needs a few quid. He's
Mm,
very temperamental when he doesn't get his way.
yeah,
And, the toys can be thrown out of the pram
yeah.
very quickly. I think Conte is exactly the same.
Mm,
Big time Charlie manager, likes to have a few quid. If things aren't going his way, he will upset everyone.
yeah.
So, unless something drastic changes within Tottenham Hotspur, particularly at board level, I can see this ending up exactly the same way as it did when Jose was there. It will end very quickly. They'll all fall out,
Yeah.
and they're back to square one again.
I mean, that's look at Kant in his previous positions. He's very clever in what he does with getting in the door, getting a good run of results, maybe getting a couple of trophies under his belt, and then just getting out. He doesn't want to
Yep.
build anymore. He doesn't want a legacy at the club. He just wants to say on my CV, I've won those 2 trophies these 2 years, these 2 trophies these 2 years, because he's gone in there at a certain point. Now he is a good manager in that way, but I'd like to see him show a bit more loyalty to the clubs that he's with. But I mean, has he been with 2 other clubs since he left Chelsea?
So and he was at Inter Milan most recently, and
And
again the
Juve,
reason he
wasn't it?
left there was because they weren't giving money.
Mm,
They weren't coughing up the money, so
yeah.
he was gone out the
Mm,
door. And it like don't get me wrong, I think he will come in and have an effect at Tottenham,
yeah.
and he'll get them up the table.
Yeah.
I think they're ninth or 10th or something at the
Yeah.
moment, but like they're not going to win the league or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe top four, but I just think he's going to get fed up
Yeah.
before things start going well for them, you know. But again, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see on that one. So maybe we'll pair Tottenham there for the moment. Do you just want to very quickly, while we're on the topic of Tottenham Hotspur,
Mm,
just very quickly talk about United and Tottenham over the
yeah.
weekend, and we'll jump into the other games then.
Yeah.
So I suppose the main thing to take from this was kind of, I suppose Nuno got the sack. He was against the manager, who was only recently very close to getting the sack, and this was a make or break
Mm,
game, arguably for both managers. Obviously, Nuno lost. He's
mm.
gone. Ole won. He's back in flavour again. What did you make of United on the day, Kev?
I think they played well in parts. I didn't think they had to do much. Kind of similar to us against United, but I mean, in that way, I seen two poor teams, but one just playing slightly better on the day. I'll be honest with you, too. Like, uh, Scholes said it himself about United, and on a day where they're playing a better world class side, they get torn apart. And that's, they've got City coming up as well fairly soon, haven't they? No,
They
City
do.
are
And
in a
Manchester
bad, and they've
finished
just,
City
yeah,
at the weekend.
yeah, so like City are just coming off a defeat there now as well to Crystal Palace at home, so they're not going through the best run of form. That game probably has draw written all over it, and United could actually nick it because they've got the better results against City in the last couple of years. Um, they just seem to, just because of the occasion, they managed to get a result against them, and do it well as well. But I don't know, I saw two poor teams with world class finishing ability
Yeah.
at either end, and only one set of them turned up in the day. To be honest with you,
Absolutely, absolutely. I know, I agree. I think from what I did see of it, to give United some credit, um, versus ourselves the week
mm,
before, they didn't look great. I do think they brought a lot more intensity to this
mm,
game. They even pushed up a little bit further. They were a lot more compact. I was very impressed with Cavani. I thought he worked his socks off. He did combine
yeah,
well with Ronaldo as well.
mm,
Again, we would have talked about this previously. Ronaldo in around the
yeah.
box. There's not many as good as him.
I know. So you
Uh,
said you seen it. Should you like? We're hearing it.
Great finish.
We're hearing it for the last 2 days. No, that's the two. Apparently, no, that's the two. That's the best partnership in Premier League now at the moment. After a game, so, I've heard it there for the last 2 games. Again,
Yeah,
best partnership in the thing. Here we have it. The brand new Cavani and Ronaldo. Brilliant. So
yeah.
where were
I
they all
look,
season?
I
You know?
know, I know, I know.
Yeah.
Look, but as you said, this will be it now for the next few games until something else goes wrong. I was impressed with Cavani. I was
Yeah.
impressed with his work
He's a
rate.
good player.
Even Maguire looked all right. Jesus, surprise, surprise. He
That
looked
must be
okay
that must be his one every 5 games, is it?
for the first time in a long time.
As I'm going to take the piss
Um,
all the time, believe me. United are shocking at the moment. Until I see ye doing 8 to 10 games in a row, you're getting the piss taken out of you. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was impressed with Ronaldo. I was impressed with Cavani. The true ball that Ronaldo played for Cavani was
Yeah, it was
that was
brilliant.
unreal.
Yeah.
And then Rashford had a great finish as well. So I suppose if you're a United fan at the moment, you have to be happy with that. They have Atlanta tonight,
Do you think he
and
looks happy there,
and
Rashford, while you're on Rashford? He
hard
doesn't
no, isn't
smile.
it?
Like, I
No,
haven't seen him smile at all at United in the last while. Like, he used to smile, used to be happy there or whatever like that. I know he loves the club and a lot, but I don't feel like he feels like it's his place. I don't know
but
what it is about him, man.
when you're bringing in a 36-year-old Ronaldo, I'm
Yeah,
sure on one level they're delighted that
yeah,
he's there, but like if he's being selfish, he's like, this man
yeah,
has keep me out of the
yeah,
team now, or I don't get as many chances. Then Cavani came on as
yeah,
well, and I think they're going to be flavor of the month now for a while, the two of them. So yeah, it does kind of hold things
yeah.
up for Rashford, who I think is a fine player, to be totally honest with you. You
Without
know
him and that trio that they had a couple of seasons ago, they wouldn't have hit that second spot. You know,
exactly, exactly,
and
exactly.
I don't see that happening this year because he's been sacrificed, or Sancho's been sacrificed for Ronaldo. Like Sancho,
Yeah,
oh, what the hell? The Sancho, like
what's the
Van de
point?
Beek should be getting out there in January. Do you
Yeah,
know Van de
absolutely. I
Beek?
think Barcelona are looking at him
Yeah,
in terms of the loan
yeah,
signing at the
and
moment as well.
he'll go there and be a worldie.
He will, he will, he
You
will.
know,
And Sancho again, like Sancho's not going to fit into that formation if they're
no,
playing the two guys up front as
no,
well, you know. So what's the point in spending what I believe it was 70 million
yeah,
on a young guy that was absolutely flying in
more than that, wasn't
Germany?
it?
Was it
More,
more than that? Was
yeah,
it
yeah,
70, 75 out of my
yeah.
head? And they're
It
going
could
to
be in my
hold
head.
his
It could be
progress.
90 million euro. I'm thinking of, but instead
Could
of
be,
pounds or
could
something.
be,
Yeah, yeah,
could be. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, sure. Look, that's United. They done well. Spurs being Spurs again, as Roy Keane would say, fell apart. So what we might do, we'll park them for the moment.
Yeah.
I think
Ole is at
it'll
the
be
wheel for the next 2 weeks on
all is that.
holiday.
That's what I was just going to say. That's
Yeah.
what I was just going to say. So we'll see what happens with City again at the weekend, you
Yeah.
know, and obviously we'll see how Conte gets on moving forward. Then after that, so what we might do there, Kev, we might
Nope.
deal with the top four first of all, and
Yeah.
we'll look at our own team there, Liverpool. Now we'd watch long.
Yeah.
We watch this together.
Kev are getting better
Uh,
at this presenting stuff, by.
I know, we're doing our best. Look, we'll get better as the weeks go on. You know, we'll get better as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
But obviously a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Now again, we would have previous conversations about this being one of the games where we would expect Liverpool to pick up 3 points, and we had a great start, Kev.
Yeah.
We really did have a great
Yeah, we're
start.
all over them.
Then a couple of things happened. Again, we spoke about it in the watch along. First of all, there was that disallowed goal from Mane, which was a handball.
Yeah. Rightly so. It was
Yeah,
just low
yeah.
goal.
But again, I just felt something
Yeah.
changing in the wind
Bobby
at that moment.
Firmino's miss.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I was thinking one
yeah.
of those. You said it yourself. It's one of these days, isn't it? And I'm sitting
Yeah,
there kind of going, do you know when you start thinking ahead to the 98th minute? And I'm thinking we should be 5-0 up at this stage. But then I'm thinking in my head, please don't be too wild. Please don't be too
I
wild.
know,
And I'm
I
like,
know.
why am I thinking this? And then I get that feeling. You just get that feeling over you, you know? But
One of those days. One of
Stoke,
those days.
Fabinho's missing, and we lost Kate in the middle of the game. So that was our entire defensive cover gone in
Yeah.
front of Verge, and we never recovered from it. If I
Mm.
was, I wouldn't have brought on Ox, if I was to be honest with you. If Ox was to come on, I would have brought him on in the wings somewhere. But Ox, okay, so Ox says himself he wants to be another Steven Gerrard, and Klopp is trying to be loyal to that by saying I'm going to bring you on and try in the midfield or whatever like that. But I'm sorry, but 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work.
No.
Right, so he's much better when he's coming in slightly off the wings and into playing with either Mane and Bobby, or Bobby and Salah, and interchanging with them. But when he's stuck down the midfield, he kind of tends to drift across, and he nearly almost does a Henderson in a way. And he either tries to run with the ball and loses it an awful lot, to be honest with you, or he just has to play it back. So I for me, he's better off playing to his strengths and sticking to that. And I'd like to see Klopp playing him that way as well. Because he did it a few seasons ago, where he was playing in that almost free attacking midfielder role, and then until he got the knee injury, the cruciate ligament injury, and then but now he's still trying to play this midfield role. He's trying to come into where Hendo plays. They're kind of getting each other's way. There's a lot of just you shouldn't really want to be tapping to your midfield partner a foot away from you. You want to be spreading the people that are coming on top here, but they were able to close us down so easily, win the ball back a couple of times because we had no defensive outlet to give it back to first. We had to go always back to the defence, and then we couldn't drive it on again. So that kept Salah and Mane quiet at the front. So look, for me, Bobby should have dropped back a small bit deeper. I would have stuck Jota up front. That's worked before in the past. Against a team like Brighton, that would have worked again, and that would have allowed Jones and Hendo to just sit there, and Bobby would have just come back and helped them the whole time, and that would have been your defensive cover there. But instead, brought on Ox. He was mostly stuck, for some reason he wants to play centre midfield, but he was constantly stuck out right top of Robertson or getting in Hendo's way, and it didn't work for me. So but fair dues to Brighton, they played very well.
They did. I know we were saying about a bit of bad luck or just one of those but when your mind starts playing tricks now, I think when that goal got disallowed, I think the Brighton opener as well, the sun was in the keeper's eyes, it was definitely a cross and it just went in. I just remember thinking, oh my God. Now, as you said, you'd have to give credit to Brighton on the day. They're a fantastic team, again around sixth in the table at the moment. The manager is looking very good. The team are looking very good. They were I was a bit worried in terms of, as you touched on already, our midfield was so open once Naby went off. Again, going back to previous conversations we'd had, we'd be of the belief that from 1 to 11 we definitely have one of the best teams in Europe, if not the world at the moment. But when there's one or two lads in key positions missing, so obviously we were missing Fabinho, there was no cover there, Naby went off, then it was just there was nothing protecting us from the Brighton attack at points in that game.
Yeah, there wasn't. It was evident to see when if Kanate stepped up a couple of times there. He played very well the game previously, but he was a bit caught out in the last game, to be honest with you. When he was stepping up, he was leaving Verge wide open because he was trying to do the role that Fabinho, and because in fairness, he was spotting the gaps to try and close down. But once Brighton had an extra man anywhere there, the ball was getting laid off and back and passed around him, and that's not really down to Canadian himself. He spotted where the danger was, and he had nobody else there to help him to close it down. And Verge as well, which Verge is still not up to his full pace. He's still a little bit leggy in places at latter stages of the game. But look, by the time he gets past Christmas and all, he's going to be he's going to be like, he's already back to his best early, and he's back to his best when he's getting across defenders and stuff. But I'm talking about when teams are passing between us and stuff like that. It's the quick turn. Like, he's just a little bit sharpness gone in him there. But I'd like to see that will only build up over time, and that's probably something they're working on anyway, because they've noticed it over the last couple of weeks. But no, look, fair dues to Graham Potter. His style of football is exciting to watch. It was a good game to watch. In the end, it's just a real shame that we were 2-0 up and looking like we could go 4 or 5 again. And then all of a sudden, they put it back to 2-2. It's one of those games. That's the only way I can put it down to. I'm not disappointed. We're still going to be challenging Chelsea more than City will, I think, for the rest of the season and the title. Because Pep still has his eye on the Champions League, man. He's going to want it. The disappointment from last year. You can see that the concentration is lapsing in the Premier League. They're just kind of grinding out little results, and then they're just getting caught as well at home against teams like Palace, with United coming up next as well. So another draw there, and they're going to be drifting back further if us and Chelsea win again. Now, we should have capitalised as much as Chelsea should have on that the other day, but we're still going to be there chasing them. We're going to strengthen again in January. I cannot see us going without bringing in some sort of midfield cover again in January. Whether it be from the Premier League and picking off one of the smaller teams, or promoting the likes of Martin or somebody like that up into the middle of the park, and the covering side of it anyway. Or any of those guys, I don't know. It's Harvey Kane all in with it. I don't know where they are, but anyway, I can't see us not bringing somebody else in there to cover off in the middle of the park. I think, you could give a shout for Trent going in there and sticking Nico Williams in the right back. Well, Nico Williams is more than capable of going back into the right back. But you could have stuck Trent in there, and he would have been defensively able to cover, similar to Fabinho in a way, because that's where Fabinho started, really, was on the right back position, So I know he's into the midfield. So, like, wing backs can easily become defensive midfielders in that way, kind of a sweeping midfielder, if you want to call it that way. So, yeah, I don't know. Like,
that's an interesting shout. I would never have thought. No, I know there's been talk of Trent going into middle numerous times before, but no, I would agree with the point you just made. I'd never thought of it before, to be honest with you. In that sort of an emergency situation, throwing Trent in there, and then Nico Williams, because Williams had a great game there in the League Cup as well, man of the match performance. No, that's a very good point, Kev. That's something to think about. Maybe we should text Jurgen. What you think?
But then Jurgen, you know what Jurgen's going to say? Why would I put the best right back in the world into the midfield? Because maybe we kind of need it at the moment, But okay. To any question, Jurgen knows what he's doing and all that, and it's only one in every 60 games that man gets caught out with something, So
yeah.
So yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I think just I'd agree with that. I think just to summarise on the Liverpool game, I think there's a couple of things to take from it. First of all, look, there's no shame in drawing to Brighton. They're a very good team, right? But I suppose the thing that we would be, as Liverpool supporters, disappointed about is being 2-0 up and then losing it. Particularly at home, and dropping 3 points in a title race that's kind of hotting up already, I suppose one of the things then as well is that, to go easy on ourselves, that sometimes when you have such a great win like we had against United the week before, it nearly always happens that your next game is going to be something will go wrong. And look, that's just the way it goes. I suppose the biggest thing from Liverpool's point of view now is how we respond. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. You're getting a little bit better.
1 second there now. Yeah,
there you go. You're back. You're going. We can still work away.
No, that was my fault. So I think that the thing for Liverpool is how we respond in our next game. And interestingly enough, it's against West Ham, who had a fantastic win over the weekend, and who I have to say I've been very impressed by so far. David Moyes doing very well, has West Ham in the top 4. What did you make of them at the weekend, Kev?
I thought they were very good. I still see, I can see where they're, as a team, cohesively good now. They're a lot more compact. They're playing the game better, stuff like that. I still don't see the speed and the fluidity of play So like they're still slightly slow on the counter attack unless they have four people involved going forward. You know what I mean? That's what I've been watching. But
Yeah.
this, Antonio can do damage anywhere inside in the box. Declan Rice can play a good through ball. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere, not high or whatever like that. But he can drill it low and it causes nightmares inside there. Farnell's is a dangerous player when he's on his day. But as long as we get our cover in defensive midfield position covered, where there's somebody going to sit in there, where there's going to be Henderson, and just let somebody like Will Jones play again. Will he start Ox? Will he actually, maybe bring one of the other midfield? If it was me against the likes of them, I would actually throw Bobby and Jota on at the same time.
Yep.
And just cause them more hassle at the back, so that we don't have to really worry about him going forward, and then just kind of play it where we're just covering. Like Bobby will always run back for you. If he's played in that position, he will run back and he will come back to the end of that circle in the middle of the park, and he will cover along there, and he'll go back and forth. He'll if he's there, but if he's up forward, then you know it's hard to kind of call it what way we're going to play the team. I'm hoping that Fabinho will be back. Thiago's not back until after the international break.
So reading
So,
this morning that he might be okay.
oh, is he?
Whether he's fit enough now or not, I
Mm.
don't know. Yeah, yeah. No, I only literally before we started, something popped up on my phone
Yeah,
there
Jurgen
about
said it in
Thiago
the conference
and
the other day.
Fabinho being okay.
Yeah, he was saying that Jurgen said about Thiago that like it could be the next game, but for me it's more than likely after the international window. But
Yeah,
that was 3 or 4 days ago, so maybe he's made a better recovery in that, because I mean if you've Thiago in the middle of that park, there he can nick in and win the ball. Even they said that Keita might miss this. He'll definitely miss the electrical game, but he could be back as well because it's not really serious. It's more like just a tightness in the hamstring than anything else. It wasn't a tear, it wasn't anything like that. So a few days rest, a bit of ice, couple of ice baths, soon loosen up that muscle, he'll be probably on the massage table every single day, getting that thing just needed out, and he's probably going to be on a specific diet to boost up the tendons and the ligaments around that area. So, like I think it'll be okay come the weekend. I think it's going to be more. I wanted to see us do well against Atletico Madrid tomorrow night, because we'll get into that in a second, but mainly because just to kind of leave us easier for the remaining games. We can talk about them there in a second when we're finishing up, because we go into that tangent we're already talking about before we go into it. So right, so look, we've had a look at us. There's not much more we can do with that. Um, Jesus,
Oh, Can
Everton
I
last
just can I
again.
just ask you a question, right?
Yeah. Oh no, go fine, so fine.
Just in terms of Declan Rice, because I
Yeah,
watched him last
yeah.
night, and I know he's our favorite Irish, English, Welsh, Scottish man, whatever he is these days. What do you think of him?
He's all right, I suppose, as a player.
Do you think he's
I
100 million player like
I
there?
know he's not a 100 million player. No
Yeah,
way is. Look, unless you're at Salah level, and Allison level, Van Dijk level, or who else would I say is in the, if I was looking at who in the Chelsea team would be worth 100 million right now, you know,
Timo
Eh,
Werner, I know.
team over, yeah, so Haaland level,
Mm,
that kind of stuff. Lewandowski can't be at that level anymore because of his age. But this is what I'm talking about. These guys, Sancho before he moved to United, these guys, unless you're at those levels, that's the 100 million. Neymar, Mbappe, they're the £100 million players. But
it's this English player thing again that we're
yeah,
back to,
I don't
isn't
know
it?
where. Yeah, like we paid 40 million for Ox when he should have been about 18, 19 million.
Yeah,
He should have been the same. To be honest, he's a different style player to Shaq, so he would have been a £25 million player to me. So you're paying the extra 15 million there from alone just because he's English. If you're
yeah, yeah.
Declan Rice and let's say he's a 35 to £40 million player, you're going to be paying 60 million for him.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's the thing, but he's not £100 million.
Yeah, I've
You
seen
know,
a kind of a dubious link there. No, I know it's never going to happen,
uh,
but the way these things pop up
I
online,
seen
they were
it.
saying Liverpool are eyeing him up as a replacement for Jordan Henderson.
Henderson.
First of all, I think there's a few years left in Henderson, and second
Yeah,
of all, I don't think we'd ever pay that amount of money for a
no.
player like him anyway.
I think we
So I just
create
thought
one better more than that.
absolutely, and like Morton, as we said,
Yeah,
like there's someone there already. There's
yeah,
possible players to take Jordan Henderson's place when the time comes.
yeah,
Do you just want to quickly touch on Chelsea and Newcastle there?
yeah,
Just to get us out of the top four, then.
yeah.
What? No, again. it's one of these things we talk about certain teams that should have picked up 3 points
Yeah,
over the weekend. Like City would have been one, they
yeah,
didn't. Uh, Ourselves being
yeah,
the other, we didn't. But Chelsea,
the-
fair play to
mm,
them, they did.
yeah,
I think they're doing really well, Kev. Better
yeah,
than what I expected out of them so far.
yeah.
What did you make of the game, and what do you think about Chelsea going forward?
From what I've seen of it, it was kind of they were kept at bay for quite a while by Newcastle, and and they would give it a bit give and go, but in the end, Chelsea's quality ran through. I think did Newcastle go up to 10 men as well, or was it
I
that?
don't think Newcastle mounted
They
10
got a
men, but
penalty though, wasn't it?
there was a
Yeah, that was
penalty.
it.
There was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
penalty. I think from what I seen of it, Chelsea had a lot of chances. They had a goal
Chances,
disallowed in
yeah,
the first half as well. They
yeah.
hit the post. They were doing
Mm.
really well. So they like in fair play to Newcastle, held out a long while. But once Chelsea scored, then the game was
Look,
only going
until
one way.
Newcastle become some sort of a working team when they
Yeah,
get a new manager in, at the moment they're just being seen like Norwich, where you just roll them over a bit, and and that's kind of where you are.
yeah,
There's not much more to say. What I expected Chelsea to win, they won it. They probably, they could have won it by more, in the end, but they didn't, and
yeah.
that means there's hope for the rest of us. That they're not going to, So look, Chelsea are just going to have to keep doing it in the big games and see. That's what's going to be their test, because they're beating the smaller teams fairly comfortably. Well, besides Brentford really. But we had the same problem with them. But
Yeah,
then
too easy unless you're
yeah.
Burnley.
But like, yeah. So I don't know. Like, Chelsea are there. They're doing the work at the moment. Christmas period is going to tell how they play without Lukaku. Lukaku's not back for a couple of games, is he? And
Proud of them, I think, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Everybody else in the team is scoring. I think if you
yeah,
distributed the goals around the team, like
yeah,
they're absolutely brilliant that
yeah,
way, you know?
yeah. So I mean, that's not much more you can say about Chelsea. They're on top of the league. They deserve to be there at the moment. We're going to push them all the way till the end of the season. And to be honest with you, I think we're the better side when we're fully in full
So,
force and full
so, yeah,
pelt. So once, look, we get a couple of boys back, we go on a run, maybe put them under pressure a bit, and let's see if they've got the battle to go until the end of the season, that kind of way. So
very
that's the
good,
only thing I
very
can
good.
say about that. Right.
Just in terms of the City loss over the weekend,
Yeah.
what did you make of Zaha
In what way? Like,
against City? Like he absolutely
oh
terrorized
yeah,
them.
yeah, but he terrorizes most teams that he's involved in anyway when he turns up.
Fantastic. What
Uh,
age is he now? He's got to be late 20s at this point,
yeah,
28, 29 up around there, is he?
is he? No, I think maybe 27, 28, yeah,
Is he?
27, yeah. So, like, he's still worth a punt. Like, he was bought by United at, like, 21 or something, wasn't he? Or
Yeah,
22 or something like that. Like, so, was he older than that? If he's older than that, then he's definitely around 29 now. But,
yeah.
like, like,
Laporte got sent off. Like
yeah,
that was a foul on Zaha as well.
yeah.
You know, he couldn't contain him at all.
Was that
What do
three
you think is
games? Was it a serious foul play, or was it just a one
it?
game, man?
It was. Do you know what it was? No, I think it was. I don't think it was serious foul play.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity on goal. Last man back. He was only dragging on to him, but he did
Could be a
deny
one
a
game
goal
ban,
for an
I'd say.
opportunity.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1 game ban with that exactly.
Okay.
How big do you think it is that City haven't signed a striker? How much do you think that's affecting them?
Oh, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know whether, like, was it a thing where Spurs thought that they were actually good? It's like, I'd be thinking of these things at the same time. Like, if I'm thinking from a business point of view, and I think like there's a lot of wheeling and dealing going along, and a lot of backstabbing goes on in these deals, and I mean, agents talking to people when they shouldn't be, all this kind of stuff, like. But it was a way that was Harry Kane ever intending to leave Spurs for City? Or was he intending to maybe go somewhere else and then maybe thinking, oh, I'll say it right up until the very end and then just pull out of the deal? Or what's the story? Like, was it that kind of thing? Or was it, I don't know. But they went after Harry Kane, it didn't work. They bought Jack Grealish, who I don't think is a £100 million player at all.
No.
I don't see,
Another Irish Englishman.
yeah, but I don't see what people see in him.
Mm.
He's kind of got the style and the look of Beckham in what he does, but without half the talent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just don't get. How often does he dribble with the ball? I see a lot of sidestepping going up the wing. Then somebody comes and tackles him. He falls over, wins a free kick, and that's it. The odd time he
Yeah.
gets in and nicks a goal, but I just don't see what he does. And I've been watching him, but I just don't. I cannot see it for the life. He doesn't excite me at all when he's playing.
Yeah.
He did when he was younger because he was a lot more patient, moving. But I just think he's slowed his game down to suit his injuries, and I think that's going to catch up with him fairly soon. And um, unless it's a miracle and he comes around and he becomes a fucking worldie, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I just haven't seen it up until now. You know,
Yeah.
I just
I,
haven't
I
seen he's a
suppose
£100 million player. I don't get it.
I definitely agree that I don't think he is a £100 million player either. I think
Yeah,
they could have spent the money more wisely,
yeah,
as with an Aguero replacement.
yeah,
Because they have options
yeah.
where Grealish is. They've so many options there in that area.
Imagine if you stuck a Callum Wilson into that Man City team. It should he
Yeah,
might get injured an awful lot, but man, he'd score goals left, right, and centre for them. Inside
I
there.
there's one part of me thinking I do personally think that Kane fully intended on going to Man City if he was
Maybe,
allowed go.
yeah.
I There's part of me, and again this might be totally wrong. I think Ronaldo uh, was either seriously considering going there
And
or
threw
he
a
was
spanner in the
toying
works.
around with
That's what I was
City
going to
and
say
just went,
next.
just
Maybe
just
one was playing with the other, and then the next one played in and played with them as well. You know, so United were
yeah,
playing Spurs while Spurs were playing City. Yeah,
yeah, because
it's all
it's not
yeah,
like City are short a few quid. They could have afforded somebody, you know.
yeah.
And I genuinely did think that up until today that Harry
Hmm.
Kane was going to go there in January, but that might now be different with Conte after taking
Yeah,
over, you know. So I suppose we'll just have to see what happens with that one. I think we agree that the lack of a striker up front is going to affect City.
yeah,
It makes them a little bit weaker this year. And again, look, it's still all very tight at the top.
yeah,
So look, it makes everything interesting, I suppose.
yeah.
I suppose that's the top four covered there, Kev. So will we just touch briefly on some of the other games that happened over the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Wolves and Everton last night?
Yeah, I've seen it all right.
Yeah, what did you
I
think?
just what
Bit of a
is going
slump
on?
for Rafa.
What is going on with Everton? I mean,
Mm,
they literally gave him the ball to score a goal.
did you see that?
Yeah,
Good finish. Good
yeah,
finish.
Jesus,
Great chip, like, but
but I mean, but it's like when you look at Jimenez's attitude or his demeanor when he scored a goal, it was just like it was coming anyway. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and that's the way I was just like Wolves looked like they bastard fairly, in the way
Mm,
they were playing it. Another fella that I don't kind of rate, but there's a load of potential there, but you can't change that kind of potential. Is Traore. You know, he can be a great player in some days where he'll just barrel through people, but the other time he's the kind of guy that's leaving the ball halfway behind him and then kind of run for it. So it's another Milan Barra situation for me, that kind of way. He's got bags of potential on one side and then just not enough of that, on the ball stuff I don't see he doesn't
do,
put in enough crosses playing on the wing.
do you think he lacks game intelligence, or he just doesn't care enough?
No,
Like, do you think if he was
no,
under a better manager,
I
a
just think
Klopp or a
I just think
Poch,
it's
they could bring out that talent?
I think it's his physicality, and I think maybe under Klopp he could make him into a different style of player. I think under Klopp, man, he could make him into a centre forward, like a full on striker centre forward. You know,
Interesting. That's a good call,
but
actually. Yeah.
but he would have to work on his headers. He would have to work on
Mm,
him barreling through. With his pace, he could hold up the ball like Lukaku, and like the other great strikers like Lewandowski in the world and all of that. And then he could also roll a dude and run straight through the middle of the park.
yeah,
What
yeah,
if you had like say him maybe and Salah and Mane on either side of you, then that these guys are spreading that defense big time, and he could just turn and run. He
yeah,
could lay it off and look for a back, and he's already in there because he's got the pace to do it.
yeah.
But
And you could
his
also put the argument
finishing
there.
is the weakest part of his game.
Yeah.
It's like for him to become a striker, like he would have to learn how to become a striker in
Mm.
that because he's just most of the time he just can't finish, to be honest with you. So
No,
I don't
that's
know.
fair enough.
Yeah,
That's like again, that's two very interesting points today.
yeah.
Kevin have to say about
I'm
Trent
sure.
in the
Yeah,
middle in the more
think so
situation.
as well.
And Troy Horace. I
Uh,
was like, I could see him as a striker. And again, I think under a really good manager that can develop players like your Klops or your Poch.
they're not supposed to know you're
Um,
there.
who's that? That's the small fella, is it?
No, the fellow who's telling me all the answers behind me.
All right. No, I think they're very, very interesting ideas. Very interesting ideas.
Yeah, there's a
But
few things.
what do you reckon of like I've been impressed with Wolves.
Yeah,
They're playing good attacking football
yeah.
and they're getting results. What you make of the manager there?
Oh, the Larga's doing well. But like Wolves have they've already got a nice little setup there going, for the last couple of managers. They've been doing well, but like this, I mean, there's a good team ready there that's already well drilled, well prepared, and they've just, maybe they were affected last season by maybe Nuno, were talks of Nuno leaving and and that kind of stuff, and maybe they were just like, what's the point in doing this? No, we're gonna have to do this all over again. And it's amazing what like a little a little whisper in a team can do to bring down the morale of a team, especially if they know like that the guy that's kind of brought them to the level that they're at is about to leave them, and they already know it. then you're dipping from once, you're coming back up, you're just playing average football, and that. But it looks like they're getting the passion back for the game again. Jimenez was a massive loss for them, and him coming back is just like it has allowed the rest of the lads to play football again.
Yeah.
Properly. It's opened up the team a bit. A lot of defenders are worried about him all the time, and when you go full check out in the middle of the field, with the helmet on and all that, like he's an easy man to follow, so he's an easy man to spot. And fair use to him for coming back, man, after such an injury. But and he'll score goals. Well, I had him in my fantasy football team there and I still do up to the last, since the start of the season, because I knew he'd score goals in or around there. And that's flash behind me there,
Dog,
yawning. He's yawning away. Any more
he's giving you
answers?
all the answers there,
I'm
Kev.
running out of things to say here, Flash. Tell me. Thank me. No, I'm really joking. Right, but no, they're playing well, lad, and they'll do damage against other teams. We tend to Tipwood have done a number in the last few seasons. When we played them a couple of times, they've caught us now, like and that. But I don't be too worried about them when we come up against them, because we're able to kind of break them down in the way they play. But they can destroy, like they can catch all other big teams out easily. So look, Larga's done well there. Great result for them. Everton are poor at the minute. Agent Rafa's doing his thing, man. I keep saying it week in, week out. Agent Rafa's there. He's doing his thing.
Very good, very good. But that's grand. That's fine. So there's one other game that I found slightly interesting. We might just comment on it quickly, and then just in terms of Leicester and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal are slowly but surely and quietly showing a bit of form.
Yeah.
Things are starting to come together for them.
Yeah.
What did you reckon of their win over the weekend against a
I
good
thought
Leicester?
I thought it was a fantastic win for them against the Leicester side. Like Leicester, we know Leicester can beat anybody on the day when they want to. Leicester can beat anybody on the day when they want to. Hang on, I'll leave this dog out. 2 seconds, fuck. I'll leave that dog out. Thank you. And Leicester can beat anybody on the day. But then they have these situations where they just crumble, and they get beaten like really easily. Like the season we won the league there, like I was thinking Leicester second in the league, they're going to give us a bit of a game now when we come back after the Club World Cup, and all of that, and then we just tore them apart in the home ground, and that's the type of Leicester that was turning up as well against Arsenal. So look, they have these kind of dips in them. Notably, even the time we were going to win the league, maybe the season before, and they played sort of only okay, and City were only okay when they were playing them at the same time. But then the company came up with that worldie,
Yes.
and that was pretty much what won the league for them. That was them winning the league right there in that moment, and that was kind of his send off.
Shouldn't he been sent off in that game?
Yeah, I shouldn't. Yeah, so
I
he
remember.
shouldn't have even been there in the first place, like But and it's kind of when VAR was really coming in, to the game. So it was about to come in. So look, the Leicester have the capability to beat anybody on the day, but then they could lose to absolutely anybody as well at the same time. That's kind of Brendan Rodgers' forte, unless he's got unless he's got all these players playing that he likes to play. Otherwise, he's just plugging holes in places,
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. It's like Arsenal are doing well. They're on a momentum. I can only base it down to the fact that Leicester aren't poor, because they've been having good run of form. They've been beating United, which probably wasn't hard in the last few weeks, but they have been beating people. They've been playing well, even though they had a slow start to the season. But Arsenal are grinding, and they're gradually gaining momentum. They're getting cohesive. The passing's getting better. They're not looking so open, Whether Arsenal can do it against the top four sides, I don't know. But they give them a run for their money. On their day, they could beat the Chelsea if they wanted to. Now at this stage of their thing, if they wanted to, they could beat the City. If they turned up and went against us like we played against Brighton, they could take us in that way if they want. But with our full strength squad and Chelsea's full strength squad, they'd be probably the only two that would probably take them on current form at the moment.
Absolutely.
They're not like I say much about Arsenal. They have to just keep doing it and keep grinding away. We've got them after West Ham now coming up, so I don't know if I'll be over that for that one myself. So There might be
Oh,
no watch along that way.
we'll have a pitch side
Pitch
reporter now.
side there. I don't know because
Very good.
I'm going to bring the little lad over for his first game. It's either going to be Arsenal, Southampton. If not, I'm going to just wait until the new year. So it all depends, man. So you know yourself, the tickets are kind of scarce now these days from where they used to get them. So anyway, look, we'll have to wait and see on Project Arsenal and see how
So
they.
we'll watch this space as far
Yeah,
as Arsenal are
yeah, pretty
concerned at the
much, yeah,
moment. So what we might do there, Kev, right? We're
yeah,
going to talk about the Champions League a bit, like the
yeah,
watch long we're going to do tomorrow. But there's 3 other games, right? And what I think we might do just for the crack
yeah,
within, let's say, 60 seconds, right?
yeah.
I'll throw the
Aye.
results at you and give me a quick comment about each game, and we'll try and do it all within 60 seconds for the
Yeah, yeah.
crack.
Let's go. Let's go. So.
Okay. So
No pressure.
Watford Southampton 1-0.
Oh, happened there. I thought fucking Ranieri was. Who's the 1-0 to? It was 1-0 to Southampton, wasn't it? Yeah, so like
Yeah.
Ranieri was back and he was in he was back in he had him playing well. They destroyed Everton. Oh no, I forget it. Yeah, no, I forget it. Everton are pretty much what United was last week and what Spurs were this week. So in the last few weeks. So there you go.
So Ranieri has a bit of work to do there, I suppose. That's what we're suggesting.
He's got a lot of work to do. He needs to get in
This
the next
was
couple of players.
absolutely. So Leeds 2, Norwich 1. No surprise there, I suppose.
Nah, Norwich.
Yeah. We'd expected that anyway,
Yeah.
and Leeds are getting a few players back as well. So
This is why in the war they sent Canaries in to get gassed first.
Oh, Kev, that was a cagey joke.
It's a cagey joke. It was a cagey joke. Right,
We'll have bad puns all day. So this probably would have been a bit of a
Puns for
shock
days.
result then as well.
Yeah,
Burnley 3 and Brentford 1. What did you make of that?
completely saw it coming. I said it from the very get-go. No way did I see that coming. No chance did I see that coming. The only thing that I can say that the reason why Burnley are going to start getting results off of the teams now is your man Cornet. He's been a fantastic boy for them. Like, I'd say Sean Dyche now must be sitting there going like this. Oh, this fella's keeping us in the Premier League. You know, I threw him straight into my fantasy football team there this week as well. You know?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, straight in there. I got rid of Danny Ings, poor Danny Ings. You know, it's he's a bit of a sick note at the moment. He's back in and out with the injuries and stuff like that. So, like, look, Cornet has gone in there. Let's see if he does well. If Jimenez or the other fella drops it, then I'll be banging in Brocha because he seems to be doing well as well at Southampton. So I've got Livermento in there as well. So you know, I'm not giving away all my secrets there, lads.
Don't. There's millions of people watching this and they're going to be like, what is Kevin up to?
Millions of you there.
I tell you, after your Trent and Traore ideas, I'll be following your fantasy football team myself, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine, Kev. So we've gone through like pretty much the Premiership action over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, will we just talk briefly about our watch along tomorrow night?
Yeah, we can do.
And some of the Champions League stuff coming up or whatever. So maybe, right, we'll just stick to 1 second here now and I'll get it up. So we'll go. So we'll just stick with the English teams, right? So we know that United are playing Atlanta tonight. Briefly, what do you think is going to happen there?
I don't know, man. Will the same United turn up against? That game could be 5-5.
They have a lot of injuries, though, don't they, Atlanta?
Yeah, they did 6 players missing in the last game, and they still, you know,
They still had that.
they still went 2-0 up,
Yeah.
and United still came back, you know. But I mean, why wouldn't they? There's 6 players missing. Even with the full strength squad there, we beat them 5-0. You know, the previous season before. So, like, my point is, they're an open side. United are pretty open as well themselves. When on their day, like if United commit fellas forward, they just get caught out all the time, and they're easily passed around in that defense. No matter how much Maguire has a good game, whatever, they're still easily passed around. If there's 3 players can get in there beyond the midfield, they're passed around so easily. So, that game could be 5-5, or you know, is United home or away?
I tell you there now.
They're probably home.
Away, actually.
They're
away.
They're away. Yeah. So yeah, that could be. Yeah. So what I say. It'll probably be 0-0 now or like 2-0, 3-0 United, but I just could say 5-5.
5-5.
I've never given a result like that in my life, but I watched that game. I watched the 2 teams and I just thought like wide open. But look, if Atlanta don't play to their strength like they did the last day and shut up shop a bit more, then you know it could be anything in that game. So
okay, very good, very good. So Chelsea are away to Malmo. So
yeah,
that's
Chelsea 3 points to Malmo. Jesus, man, it's them home. Nah, look, Chelsea probably stick out their second half of their Champions League squad there, man, they'll still get a result of a Malmo, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
it'll
enough.
probably be a 1-0 away or a 2-1 away with a weaker squad or something like that.
Mm,
But you know, they'll still get the result.
very good. And then tomorrow, no, this should be another easy game for City. They're at home. They're against Bruges or
All
Club
right.
Bruges, to give their
Yeah.
full title. So
Um.
we'll assume an easy victory for
I
City,
think
right?
Mignolet come up and do an Allison. But
Very good, very
uh,
good. And then probably the most interesting game, as far as we're concerned, anyway, and probably overall in terms of who's playing who.
yeah,
And following on from a fantastic game in the last tie, it's going to be Liverpool against Atletico Madrid at Anfield.
yeah.
What you make of that one, Kev?
Look, just kind of to briefly do it, we kind of just to kind of to finish out the show properly with this. I think that if we can field a good enough squad to beat them and just take the result there, we could stick the second half of our Champions League squad out there for the remaining two games, still win the
Yeah,
group easily, and concentrate on tough games against West Ham, Arsenal, and Southampton coming up.
yeah,
And I think there's a League Cup tie with Leicester in the middle of that there as well, thereabouts. So look, we're going to have to concentrate on that anyway. We're going to have to play every game. We know Liverpool go out there and they'll try and play 100%. But I just say, try and go and do the business tomorrow night. Let it go a good side. They proved that the last day, even though we tore them apart at the start. If we can have a similar start and shut up shop a bit more and control the game a bit more and not become so open like we did, because it kind of showed in that game that we were missing Fab a bit, and it showed in because Kate still wasn't up to full match fitness, but then he started coming in the next couple of weeks and he played well. But look, if we've any of those two guys in there and maybe a Thiago or something, if he is back, then I think we should be okay. But Thiago to me is probably a bit too soon to be able to track down and play the ball and to win back the ball without a Keita or a Fabinho in there.
yeah.
And I think if Thiago is fit though, he'll get the place over Jones just for experience alone. Look, get the result against them tomorrow night. Even if it's a draw or something, we only need a point from the remaining from two games, so you can pretty much set out a weekend squad, and see how we go from there.
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with that. I think I know you did reference the League Cup game against
Yeah,
Leicester as well at the quarter final. Like, to be honest with you, for me anyway, personally, I will be thinking if we could get the win tomorrow night, that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
fantastic. Just by whatever means, get the win. And I think then it's a real time to show a bit of season
yeah,
management,
yeah,
in terms of, like, not that we're going to take a
yeah.
handy, we'll still want wins, but we can kind of, go easy on the
Yeah.
squad,
Like he did
let
against
players
United.
rest.
He did it against
Absolutely.
United. He played a team you
Absolutely.
wouldn't expect against United. He said we have to rotate the squad. We're going up to
Mm.
that time of the season, and that's it. We're just going to have to. We have a whole squad to utilize there that can do it. So
100%, because I think it's very important for the games against West Ham, against
mm,
your Arsenals, all the
yeah,
important league games coming up,
yeah,
that we can use the important and the vital players in
yeah.
our team against these other teams as well. And I think Fabinho might be back tomorrow, right? Is
But
that?
if he's back tomorrow, well and good. He was meant to be ready for the last couple of games, but I think they rested
Mm,
him on the weekend, or at the weekend, just to kind of get a bit more match fitness and get a bit more work done in the back at home. But he's kind of ready to go now, I think. So hopefully, he'll be there anyway, at least for West Ham. But I'd like to see him starting tomorrow night just to get a bit more match fitness. And even if he does come on halfway through, maybe 20 minutes to go, and then play him again against West Ham to make sure there's no other injuries. But either Kate or Fabinho would be needed in there tomorrow night. If not, we're looking at kind of shutting up shop and trying to score more than you pretty much like the last game. So
yeah.
yeah,
And I suppose the important thing to recognise as well, that is Atletico need the points more than we do
yeah,
tomorrow. So
they're going to
you'd
come at
expect
us.
them to come at us a little bit,
They'll be
and
open.
maybe
And if Salah
we
and
can pick
Mane are
them off.
there, yeah, we'll pick them off. That's my
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So they haven't got the greatest defense. You know,
No.
they're not good defensively, I should say. We're able to counter attack them easily the last game. We tore them apart in those first 20
Mm,
minutes, and then we kind of took the foot off. Kind of similar against United. Like, even though we beat United 5-0, we could have gone on and scored 10. But
absolutely.
the two that, like, all the midfield were just passing each other back and forth within 5 feet for about
Mm.
20 minutes, and that's the whole
And
rest
you
of the
know
game.
what? You could say the same in that
Yeah,
Brighton match. We
yeah,
destroyed them in the first half, and
yeah,
we took our foot off the gas then, and then invited
yeah,
them back into the
yeah,
game. And I suppose that is dangerous against a,
yeah,
a team like Atletico,
yeah,
whose manager is who he is, and they
yeah,
play the way they play, and they're delighted
yeah,
if they can cause any trouble, and they build on that. The
yeah.
momentum goes with them then. So I suppose we do have to be very careful in that regard. And just to let people know as well, we're doing a watch along for that tomorrow night.
Watch along tomorrow night. We'll be doing it live on YouTube. At the moment, it's not on the Kitmen channel because we need to put a lot more videos up there to earn the ability to do the live videos on the
It's
Kitmen
on Spider LFC.
It'll be on Spider LFC, but the same video will be transferred over to the Kitmen channel so that you can watch it then a bit later. It'll also, I'm going to start sticking them up on Facebook as well. So if you look at Liverpool FC Ireland on Facebook, you'll see cuts of the video and the goal reactions, or if there's goals or whatever being put up there as well, so that you know, because that Liverpool FC channel is also going to be the Kitmen channel, and we're going to kind of run them kind of in tandem that way together. There's a lot of people with a lot that support the channel over there, so we appreciate that from those guys. And hello, by the way, if you're seeing us on this now. All right, so yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it. Kev, is it?
For this week, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's the Epl Roundup for, is that round 10? Is it
That is round 10. That is
round
correct.
10. Hate saying round 10. It sounds very American, doesn't it? So yeah, but like yeah, so 10 down, 28 to go. But like but like yeah, so like look, it did for us this week. About a week for United, but against very similar opposition. Chelsea are still doing their thing. Surprised with Man City. You know, surprised with kind of how well Arsenal are doing. There's kind of a tandem between Leicester and Arsenal. They're going to be battling around those same positions for the all the season, and Spurs are after dropping in there now too. So you know, there's a lot going on. We'll see you guys, I suppose, tomorrow night for the watch along. Then we're going to do a Premier League preview show. We definitely will be doing the Premier League preview show this week.
And then maybe another watch along on Sunday.
Yes, there'll be another watch along on Sunday. Yeah, absolutely. Can't be missing these games. So yeah, West Ham tough opponents this weekend. We'll go into more detail on that coming up on the weekend, even though we've mentioned it now. But we're going to sit down and have a look at the players and who we think is going to be dangerous and who we think will going to be dangerous between us in that game, and then just give our Premier League predictions for the week coming up. So pretty much for myself, also Kevin, and
myself, Kevin, also.
Yeah, and himself, myself, and yourself. I'd like to say good luck. And we'll see you again, lads, for the watch along tomorrow night over on the Spider LFC channel. We are the Kitmen. Good luck.
Peace out.